MacSeamus O'Neal, called Seamus.
From Malegentia to come, Don Connor MacSeamus O'Neal. Seamus is a friend, and he has no enemies. Member of the Order of the Lost, bends steel to his will, and his sword breaks the hands of kindness in our lands. Member of the Order of the Golden Rapier, he is a moth-bitinous ogre who has ever swung a sword. Foundational pillar to Endewearde, friend to finches and weasels alike. Trainer of monkeys, settler alike. Traps, hiccups, and artists. The Alpha and Omega of the fencing list, first to come, last to leave. He is a teacher and a student forever. He is Seamus.
So Seamus, we sent you to contemplate a decision before you this morning. Whether you would join the Order of the Masters of Defense, and we would have your answer.
Your Majesty, after much deliberation, counsel from many fine individuals, I unequivocally say yes.
Excellent. Our army is stronger with that answer.
Their Majesties would have before them their Masters of Defense.
Chivalry who will speak for this candidate.
Your Majesties, I'm Sir Ivan Ulrickson. I did not know Seamus for very long before he left our kingdom for many years. But throughout that time, his presence was still felt. Hardly an event went by where people did not relate a story about him. People carried items that he had made and left behind and referred to them as relics. This was clearly a man who was beloved, respected. What more need any man really aspire to? Now that he has returned to us, he is my peer. I'm honored to speak for him. Thank you for doing this.
Is there a member of the Order of the Laurel who will speak for this candidate?
Your Majesties, I am Jardins, and I will speak for my friend. The pen may be mightier than the sword, but as both a scribe and a rapier fighter, I feel I know a little of both. Seamus' skill with the rapier paints a picture of one who has been dedicated to his art for many, many years. Some colors may have changed over time, but the canvas is ever being repainted. But at the core, there is the ever-joyful portrait of a swordsman. His study of the old masters and his attention to form means his movement is art, pure and beautiful. He delights in teaching others and sharing his vast knowledge, because the more we teach, the more we learn, and the better we all become. He works in metal as a sculptor works in clay or stone, coaxing exquisite weaponry from his shop. He he has helped ensure both the armament of the Eastern rapier community and that it is a thing of beauty. The care he takes in crafting each piece to match them to their owners shows a deep love for the art and the people. Your Majesties, Your Highness, says assembled populace, Seamus is my friend, a man I would always be proud to have at my side in a fight, an artist, and he is unquestionably my peer.
Thank you.
Is there a member of the Order of the Pelican who will speak for this candidate?
There are two, because Seamus's service encompasses both his time in Endewearde and his time in Malegentia. I, Brita, Mairi, Svensdottir, will speak of Endewearde. Seamus has been working for many years. Over 30 years ago, he was one of the founders of Endewearde, and in fact, it was on his lawn that the demo for recruiting people to start a new group was held. And he has been one of the first rapier fighters in Endewearde from back in the time when our rule for our unheated space was, if there's frost on the inside walls, it's too cold to fence. Seamus's peer-like qualities can be demonstrated in the fact that he never killed Frasier. Except in bouts. Never mind the provocation. Seamus has been a teacher, a marshal, an event steward. He ran the first infamous Bearblade Tavern and created the roulette wheel that we still use when we have betting events. And I will now turn over to Christian Woolfe, who will speak of Malegentia.
I'm Colonel Christian Woolfe. Can you hear me? I will further this theme of service and commitment when speaking of Seamus, and to say that when he returned to us in Malegentia, we benefited greatly. His dedication, his service, his commitment. He is constantly teaching, whether it be in fencing or the craft of the blade. This gentleman is most certainly, unequivocally, and unhesitatingly, I'll make up new words to keep going, my peer and my friend. And I will, for that, be brief, which will be a surprise also as well.
Is there a member of the Order of the Rose who would speak for this candidate?
Hi. I'm going to hold on to this thing so he has a job. I'm Countess Honig, and I'm going to stumble over my words a little bit today because courtesy is something that's been on all the rows of minds today. Not just today, but for a while. And I had things I was going to say earlier on in the day, and it's changed a little bit. I've been talking to people about Seamus because while Seamus has been in my sphere, we are not close. But he has affected those that I love and those that are around me. And you are, I speak to you directly, you are a part of the community that made me. Courtesy is something that you learn. You learn by example. And when people say that for 30 years, you've not always been a master at your craft, but you have been a master of courtesy. You have given freely and openly of your heart and your skill and your sweat and your attention to anyone who would ask for it. And that is an example of courtesy that I think we need all the time, every day in the society. Please accept him.
Thank you. Is there a member of the Order of Defense who would speak for this candidate?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Have you not ever heard me?
You're making me wear one.
That's
I'm
fair.
pretty sure they can hear you in Vermont. Yes, please.
Your Majesties, your visiting royalty, your Highnesses, your Excellencies, people of the East, I am Master Frasier MacLeod.
Yes, you are. See?
I am not the man I am today without that man. I am not a companion of the Order of the Golden Rapier. I am not a companion of the White Scarf of Ethelmark. I am not a Master of Defense without that man. When Solving posted him in, she said he was a trainer of monkeys. I'm one of those monkeys! I can't put into words what this man means to me. I can't. All I can say is that without him, not only me, but many of us are not who and where we are today. He has given freely of his skill, as has been told by many. He gives freely of his time. He gives freely of his sweat, his toil. And that is something that we can never, ever get enough of. Your Majesties, that man has been my peer since the day I joined the Society 30 years ago. And I beg you to make him a Master of Defense instead.
Well, Seamus, we heard what everybody had to say. Still,
Got a lot to live
is there regalia?
Yes.
Yes, there's a collar.
There's a collar. That's a good start.
There's lineage. Those look like they're going to hurt. I mean, they look soft.
Do you want to do the cloak first? Yes. Let's do the cloak
Let's
first.
do the cloak. Drag out the drama a little.
Seamus, you're going to be a Master of Defense. You're going to be a peer of this realm, and I want you to remember it.
We see the quiet master ply, his skilled hands crafting blades, working hard to amplify the artistry of trade. We see the work of studied modes, repeated so they shape the style. The footwork glides, the swordwork flows, disguised within a gift for guile. We see the same eye for detail when students seek his watchful gaze. His skill will lead him to prevail while he explains his savvy ways. We see Don Connor MacSeamus O'Neal this January 26th, and Anno Societatis 53, hence called to King Wilhelm and Queen Vienna to kneel, as a Master of Defense installed. Thus these letters of patent convey the mantle of peerage so well deserved, command the heralds without delay, that by these arms be he observed. Profess azure and vert a fess or, between three mullets in fess argent, and a winged lion passant o'er. Words by Nicol McDonagh, scroll by Christiana Crane. For Master Connor MacSeamus O'Neal, the newest companion to the Order of Defense.
Viva! Viva! Viva!
Master Gregory Finch.
Hard to put the words out. This is the man that's behind me. The wife's there. His fortune itself. But down through the years, I learned a lot. Pass it on. Bring it to the kingdom. And I will continue as long as I can stay.
Seamus, we hear your words and we know them to be true. And we swear to protect you in times of war and seek your counsel in times of peace. So swear we, Wilhelm.
Would you like to join your order?
They seem to want me.
Company, present. Salute. Arch.
Once again, for the newest Master of Defense, Seamus.
Vivas! Vivas! Vivas!